Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen, MikeColleen.com. I believe this is video 8 in the series of second dimension and third dimensional processing thinking and opening up to the spirit world, and manifesting it and receiving your gifts, which hopefully I'll put this in here, but I want to wrap this piece up. So so we're talking about filters. So what are filters? Something we learned in NLP. In fact, we learned it in psychology, but they didn't explain it very well for shit. NLP and hypnosis were really like this. It was this 5-week long training. They broke it down, and I was like, oh my God. Your rules, your values, your beliefs, and your experiences become filters. Just like as if you're looking through this. All of a sudden you think everything's dark when actually it's not dark. You have an unconscious filter that's in between your eyes and your brain, and everything that you receive through that is suddenly changed to dark. When in reality, if you can lower the filter, which is what meditation does. That's the first thing I noticed. When I meditated for months and months, suddenly like life was just different. I noticed things more clearly, and I could actually understand people. But then I'd have to go, it would last for 3 or 4 hours, but then I would go back into my own belief system. And then I was filtering everything people said through my beliefs. And I started having the same problems. But when I meditated, I could just have conversations with everyone. There's no problems, no arguments, no fights. I didn't feel bad. Like all that went away. Okay? That's why I started meditating more and more and more, because that was an enjoyable experience, man. So when you have filters, it's kind of equivalent to, even though this is the way reality is, when you look through a filter, it looks like it's a different color. Well, somebody could be doing here's a filter I used to have. I don't want to go in depth on this, but I used to have a fear of women, and I got hurt real bad by women, girls, females, a lot, like from any age, it didn't matter. Abused, basically. And I don't want to go into any deeper, but I'm going to go more. No, I'm just kidding. And so I remember in I think it was 8th or 9th grade, maybe 10th. No, it was 8th or 9th grade. I was with my best friend Marlon and his mom, and I think it was his sister Jenna. Beautiful family, wonderful people, best friends I've ever had, ever. And there was this girl that was smiling at me, and I think she tried to talk to me, and I just kind of, did this thing, and they're like, Michael, go talk to her. She likes you. I'm like, no, she doesn't. She wants to hurt me. I had a bad experience with women at a very young age. All right, so here was the filter though. Whenever they would smile at me, to me it was more like a wicked grin. So smile, like, yeah, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna wait till you're not paying attention. I'm really gonna hurt you. Okay. I used to have that belief. I don't have it anymore, but that's because I went to therapy. That's why I did energy healing and NLP and all that other stuff. But when I became, and I remember Marlon's mom going, Michael, she's not going to hurt you. She's a very sweet girl. I know she's not. And Jenna and Marlon started laughing. And she was like, Michael, she's a nice girl. She really likes you. I was like, no. I can laugh now, but back then, those were lonely times. Okay, so those are filters. It could be from a bad experience, and that bad experience could cause you to have a new belief around certain people. Okay, my older brother got beat up really bad. Can I just say something? It's going to be outrageous. I don't mean to be racist, but it can cause people to be or appear to be racist. Now, here's what I mean. When I was in, God, how old I was young. My brother was in 9th grade, his first day in high school. And I must have been in 1st grade, kindergarten or 1st grade. And we went to pick up my brother, and I got out of the car to go get him. And it was up the walkway to the school, and they were just in the building where the lockers were, right? And right as I walked up, these 3 older seniors, they were of Latin descent, we'll call them, because I actually wouldn't know. Out of nowhere, they just beat the fuck out of my brother right in front of me. And I was like, and they didn't stop. It went on and on and on. And it was pretty brutal. I don't know how that affected him. That could have even affected me, but never affected me. Didn't have a problem with it. Just thought it was a random thing, which it was. But I could see how it could have affected me as a young child, and like look out for those people. People, oh, you're a racist, and when you have incidents like that, it causes it to be a filter. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? And so from that point on, those people are bad, right? Okay. And it could have happened to him, but I don't think he did. I don't think he ever had a problem at all, because we owned 2 restaurants and we grew up with a lot of Latin people. We had a babysitter that was Latin, or housekeeper. I don't know what she goes. She was there like around the clock. I think she even lived there for a couple of years. So it wasn't a problem. I know it's kind of touchy, but this is what can cause people, even if they're not. Like, but you're like everybody else. Well, why not this group? Well, because when he was a kid, he got beat up really bad. Okay, so we have experiences like that. Have you ever had experience where you just saw someone for the first time and you just got to hear it, and you didn't even know why? It could be because they had a bone structure, or their eyes looked just like a friend that was a kid you knew in elementary school that was really mean to you, and you don't even remember it. These are all called filters, and filters are usually unconscious. That's why you have to do shadow work to heal this stuff, okay? Yes, that's what I'm highly trained in. I've been doing this work for over 30 years, okay? I started training in NLP, I think when I was 20. 19, or I think 19 technically, but my first certification course was 20, okay? So I'm trying to give you an idea of if a demon or narcissist is processing like this, they can't understand 3-dimensional thinking, okay? So now, here's the problem with reading the Bible in 2 dimensions. You are not going to hear it, because what is the 2-dimensional thinking? It comes from the reptilian brain. Everything is fight or flight. You either kill them or be killed, right? Slap the... This is the tooth for a tooth mentality, which was the Old Testament. Now Jesus comes in and says, hey man, we got to stop doing this tooth for tooth shit, and we got to raise up to a higher level. Now, when you're in the right brain, you can think of solutions a lot better. You're much more creative. You don't need to rely on a set of rules to know what to do. Okay, so now let me wrap up the story. Again, this is a long series and I know it. So I started the story out where there is a guy named Tom. I just made up the name. And I actually saw this happen. I don't remember the people's name, but whatever. And they went to like a party, so they're all like 25 to 35. They're all friends, and it was like someone's birthday party. And so there's a married couple, and her friend Sally came along with them, right? Because she's looking for a boyfriend, right? And there's people in the living room, and there's people in the dining area, and then there's about 15 people, say, in the kitchen area there. And some people are cleaning, and some people are getting food. But about 8 of them, or 12, I think it was 12 of them. They were all facing each other in kind of a circle, half circle, or not half circle, but like a circle around the room. And Sally really liked this other guy he was single too. So she really liked the guy. Well, Tom, being your typical left logical brain male, Sally was overweight, right? And Tom, this is a very male thing, and I know women, when you hear this, you're going to be like, oh my God, like men have done this in different situations, very similar. Men are like, what are you talking about? So, Tom, women already know what this story's about. You've already finished it in your head, I know you have. Tom, and now mind you, she's smiling at this guy and kind of talking, trying to find a way to start a conversation. Now, Tom's wife is very aware that Sally likes this guy, and every woman in the room is like, Sally really likes this guy, and it's obvious, right? Well, a male, when you're in your logical brain or the reptilian brain, you can't see it. You can't, and women, I'm telling you, men can't see it. They don't pick up on the tonality, the way you say it, the tone, the tempo, the rhythm. They don't pick up on it. I know, I've been teaching men for a long time. I'm not saying that no men can. Some men can, usually when they get older too, or it depends on how their mother raised them, the influence. Modern men, though, because of computers and finances and taxes and the way of the world, everything is about thinking. It's all left brain. Holy shit. That's why we're having a problem with socializing, communicating, especially men. It's a major problem that's going on in the world. So The right brain picks up on the body language, the tone, the tempo, and how they smile, and all this stuff, right? Well, all the women are very aware that that Sally likes this guy over here, and that guy doesn't even notice. So she's trying to get away, to find a way to, because she would say, "Oh, here, do you want some cake? Do you want some cheese? Do you want some?" He's, "Oh, no, it's okay. Oh, thanks, okay, thank you." You know, he's not getting it, and Tom's not getting that either. So Tom blurts out in front of everybody in the room, "Sally, you should join the gym and lose some weight. And you should get on a diet too and cut the fats and the sugar so you can lose some." And he's blurting this out in the whole fucking room, and everyone can fucking hear it, including this guy that Sally has a crush on, that she really likes. And she looks at Tom. She goes, "You asshole! What the fuck's wrong with you?" And then she just storms out crying. And his wife goes, "Really? Do you really? Why do you?" She goes, "Why do you always gotta fucking do this?" She's pissed off. He goes, "What? I'm just trying to help." Believe it or not, he was trying to help. I know that sounds stupid. Like, how could that be considered help? Because he knew that Sally was overweight and that Sally was single and Sally wanted, because she came over to the house all the time. And would say this, like, "If you know anyone at work, let me know." And being a male, is thinking, well, if you lost some weight, you might be able to get a better boyfriend or whatever. I think you get my point. So all the guys in the room was like, why the fuck did they get so pissed off? Like, what are the women mad about? I don't understand. Like, all the guys. And so his wife was in there, and there was actually another woman, because the wife ended up consoling her friend and came back a few minutes later, like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, why would you embarrass her?" He goes, "I'm not embarrassing her. What are you talking about?" So here's the point when Jesus says, love is the fulfillment of all the commandments. Now here's why. When you're in a loving state, that artery opens up. Just like when you go to church, you remember the list of words, like, you've got love and fear. Those are the two dominant states, emotions. Everything falls underneath anxiety. So you got fear. So draw a line. Then you've got anxiety, panic, stress, confusion, everything the narcissist does to you, lying, anger, hate, all that stuff falls under fear. Under love, you got peace, harmony, relaxation. When you sing the church hymns, you feel so good. You walk out of church feeling good about yourself, right? Well, when you open up that artery, remember, the blood flows up to your larger human brain, and especially your right brain. It turns on your right brain because in blood there's fuel. There's glutamine, glycogen, and oxygen. And oxygen is the number one fuel for the brain and the muscles, by the way. And so is glycogen. So you're giving its number one, number two fuel sources when the artery opens up and the right brain turns on, and now you have greater awareness, right? So you start to notice, like, Sally's been trying to talk to this guy for the last fucking hour. Huh, I think Sally likes him. I know you think it's funny, but you would be surprised how many men just don't get it. And I'm not trying to be mean. That's why I created the course, Cracked Female Code. Because, guys, there is a code to pick up on women, to turn her on, to romance her. And it's not the male way. It is not the male way at all. So, and remember, her mating system, like ours, is in the lower reptilian brain, but there's a nerve that curves off to the right brain, the right brain's communication center, which is not the same as the male brain's communication center. This communication turns her off. Because if you go here, she has to come over here, which means she just disconnected from her mating system. All right, that's get my book, Cracked Female Code. I explain it in depth in there. So, long story short, is when Jesus says love is the fulfillment of all the commandments, it's really obvious, because you're not going to steal from your neighbor if you're in the right brain. It's obvious. Oh yeah, here's a better way to explain it. I was actually there. I said it was a made-up story. It really wasn't. It was a real-life example, but I didn't use real names because I don't remember the people's names. I didn't know these people that well. But it was real obvious to me, and when he did it, I felt so embarrassed for her. It was like, what the fuck, dude? But I've been learning how to open up my right brain for a long time. So when he did that, I saw it, and the whole time I thought it was kind of cute watching her try to flirt with this guy, and I was kind of inside I'm laughing because he didn't get it. Like, this guy that Sally liked, he didn't even notice, and she really made a point of it. And here's the funny thing: women do this to men all the time. They'll really show you that they like you. Men don't get it. Because the male brain is the direct brain. A means A, that's it. But the right brain, you say A, and it means something more meaningful, B. Ladies, guys, don't get that. Get my book, Why Men Don't Get It. All right? Mike Colleen, MikeKollin.com. Get it and learn. It'll alleviate a lot of confusion and pain and hurt. So I'm seeing all of this stuff, and men and women don't get that. Men and women don't get it. We don't get it. We don't understand each other. Now, going back to it, see, here's the thing. What I'm teaching right now is the same thing that Jesus was trying to teach. I just happened to discover it when I was teaching relationship coaching. Now, no one else is teaching this. Nobody. And it's hard to teach the male brain. It takes about 30 hours or more of training. That's what the coaching course, Cracked Female Coach. Cracked Female Code is about. It's a long, in-depth conditioning. Telling it to you logically right now, men right now still have no idea what I'm talking about. Women do. You're very aware of it. So, okay, here's my whole point of this. This is my point. I started to see this. It became very obvious. Then when I started reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John again, the book of Genesis, the book of Revelation, oh my God, I always thought it meant this. And this is what happened. When you're in your male brain, you read it, you're over here. But when I shifted to my right brain, I was like, holy shit, that makes sense now. It became so easy to understand. Like when Jesus said, he shall be married one unto she, most people think, oh, well, that's marriage. It's about a couple and you're supposed to. No. It's the left brain and the right brain shall become one. Oh, man, I wish I would have put this in the last video. There was a video I talked about the girl that was on schizophrenic medication that we happened to bump into is Lake Merritt in Oakland when me and my girlfriend went to the restaurant and I helped her to balance out and her pupils were dilated. So long story short, she actually wasn't schizophrenic. The medication was fucking with her though, and she did have a separation of the brains. Not a physical separation, a psychological separation. What I was trying to depict in that is one thing that I've learned in every single training from energy healing to NLP to hypnosis to everything I've trained in. They all say the same thing. What we're ultimately doing, we're trying to get both the left and right hemispheres in the same rhythm on the same page. Okay, this is when you're connected. But a lot of people, like I said in the video, is like one brain will be doing this and kind of like at this speed and kind of herky-jerky, whereas the other one's doing a nice and smooth thing. So this is going like this and like this and, so like this. And if you can get people's brain waves on the same rhythm, the same length, they communicate. And that's what's called at oneness. This is called consciousness when they're both on the same page, okay? And this is what I do with men and women in my course, Cracked Female Code, as I help and teach men how to get on the same page as a woman. So when she's in her right brain, he goes in his right brain. When she goes to her left brain, he goes to his left brain. So now we're on the same page and there's fluidity and flow between your left and right brain and men and women. So when Jesus says love is the fulfillment of all the commandments, I've got to say this. When you make up rules, a lot of people will be like, well, that's the rule. It says I can do that. But you know deep down inside, like you're fucking that person over so bad and they never did anything wrong to you. But a lot of people will do like, well, that's what the law says. And even though I was the one who caused the accident, according to the law, blah, blah, blah. So therefore, they look at it like it was his fault, but it really wasn't, right? And the thing about it is just like there's nothing you can do about it. All right, okay, I'll give you a rule. Oh, there's a lady where I live, or it used to be a long time ago, started about 20 years ago, and our driveway up to where we live goes kind of steep, right? Well, she had gotten surgery on her eyes, and she had stitches on her eyes, and she was an old woman, I would say 60 plus, 65 plus. And the doctor said you can't drive for, I think it was 30 days or 6 weeks. And how do I know? Because she told me. She pulled in and slammed into my car. And she had just had the surgery done, I think 2 days before. She had those big plastic dark things, to kind of like, protect your eyes from the sun. Because they were putting the drops in there, kept her eyes dilated. And they're like, yeah, the doctor's like, you can't drive for, I think it was, again, 30 days or 6 weeks. So she comes in and she rams into my car, completely destroys it. I just bought it like 2 weeks before, or that week. And I was like, whoa. And she almost hit me too, because I was just getting out, and as I saw her, I jumped out of the way. She missed me, I swear, by that much. Fucking barely missed me. Almost smashed my. She would have ruined my body. Like I wouldn't be able to walk. And then so she smashed into the car. Her first thing is just, oh yeah, her fault. Narcissist for sure. First thing she goes, I go, how's it my fault? She goes, well, it's not my fault. I'm like, well, why is it not your fault? So she pulls those things out, and she pulls her eyelids down. She goes, see, I've got stitches. I'm like, what? She goes, I just had double eye surgery, and I'm not supposed to be driving for 6 weeks. Therefore, it's not my fault. And I was like, oh my God. So she wouldn't give me her insurance paperwork. And I called my insurance. Now I was younger, and I was kind of intimidated easily back then. So I said, can we just put it on my insurance? She goes, that's a fraud. That's a felony. You can go to jail for that. And so she goes, you have to do it. And so the insurance threatened to call the cops to go to Lace's house. And I go, no, I'll do it. So I called the cops. He comes over, and he went over to her place, and she admitted right off the bat, and it's not my fault. And he goes, why? She goes, she pulled her eyelids down and showed me her stitches and said, I just had surgery, and I'm not supposed to be driving. So, oh man, what was my damn point of this story? It was a good story, but I forgot the point. Her hitting my car. Oh man, I forgot the damn point of the story. All right, I got it. Sorry, I forgot one of the purpose. So here's what happened. So the police had called her insurance company, and so he got their insurance information, and so we exchanged information. So what happened was he had made a report, and her insurance told her, like, no, you're at fault, and she just didn't want to accept it. It was just like, it was obviously her fault. My car was completely parked. The keys were out. I was getting out, smashes into it. So here's the thing. About a week later, I was going up the driveway. Now, here is a technicality that I'm talking about. When I came in, I stopped at the bottom because I realized that was her. No, it wasn't a week later. It was about a month later. Sorry, it was a little bit later than that. But to me, in my mind, it was because there was a lot of chaos going on because of that woman. So what happened was, halfway up, she stopped, and I was just like, oh, fuck this. I didn't want to deal, because every day it was like she was yelling at me. Her daughter would visit her and would yell at me. I was just trying to avoid these people. Luckily, I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to go around the block and wait till she's inside, because if I got out, because she parked next to me, she'd yell at me and scream. So luckily I was smart. And I thought, you know what? Because she kind of started coming backwards, and I was like, what is she doing? So I just pulled out, and I ended up, I think I talked to that cop. I don't know if I called him or we just randomly bumped in, but for whatever reason I talked to him. And he goes, oh, if she would have let her car go in reverse and hit you, by law, you're at fault. I'm like, how do you figure? We're going up a hill. He goes, because it's all, at least in California, I don't know if it's the United States, but California, the person who's in the rear is always at fault no matter what, unless you had it on video, right? Which I didn't. We didn't have cameras back then. No, not like we do now. We didn't do, I don't know if we had cell phones. Yeah, we did. I had cell phones. So, but I don't think my cell phone had, no, I'm sure my cell phone didn't have a camera back then. So I think the point being is, like, love is the fulfillment of all the commandments, because you know what's right or wrong. You don't need to carry a fucking rule book around. Okay, when she does this, don't do that, you know? And that's what I got really upset about when I was in psychology, Psych 101, and then when I was reading these relationship books. It was always, it was about rules. And I was watching all these people go to these seminars, you know, these world famous relationship coaches and therapists, and reading their books, and they'd end up getting divorced. And I was like, well, it's a fucking rule book. Relationships aren't about rules. Now, back then I was kind of bucking the curve, because everything was about rules. The church, it's about rules. It's about rules. It's about rules. Psychology, well, you shouldn't do this. You know, and the thing about it is rules never help people. Society's just gotten more and more violent. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up in the next video. I figure this video is going too long. The next video is going to be, it's already recorded, so I know it's going to be approximately 10 minutes or so. And it's going to put all the pieces together. The next part of this video is going to be much better than this side. See you in the next video.